So I've been a tech entrepreneur for 25 years. I built and scaled 4 different startups from the ground up and funded all of them in very different ways. I've done sort of the family funding, which we did at Crystal. We can talk a little bit about that. I've done self-funded businesses, organic growth, VC-backed companies, strategic spin-out from a large enterprise. So I've kind of done the funding game in many different ways. I've run M&A processes and sold my own businesses. I had 4 exits in all of those businesses that were successful outcomes to large going concern companies. And they're all in the BI analytics space, most of those. And so that's kind of a little bit about my history. Today, I spend half my time being a board member and an investor in mostly in the startup ecosystem, which is kind of where a lot of my passion is. And then the other half of my time, I'm helping entrepreneurs, founders in startups, as well as leaders inside of existing medium to larger organizations with their innovation projects, and basically taking their ideas and getting them off the ground and helping them scale. So just kind of rewinding back to the Crystal thing. We started Crystal in the early 90s. It was, as you said, it was kind of probably the first early BI, application in the market. The concept of EIS in the 80s existed. But, at the time, I always kind of, when I talk to entrepreneurs about their why now story, I think we had a very distinct why now at Crystal, and there was a lot of things happening. There was Windows was one, yeah. and everybody laughs, but Windows really it wasn't a thing back in the early 90s. And if you remember, Steve Jobs and, Bill Gates were battling over it was Next or Windows, and we bet on Windows. We were moving into new database technologies that were moving from PC type databases. You had, Microsoft Access, and you had these old school Btrieve and DBase, and all these FoxPro, all these kind of small, and then client server came in. So we had client server, we had Windows, and then we had this, open database connectivity, ODBC. So there was all these kind of this confluence of things that really came together at the time that really pointed at someone needs to be able to, mine this data and dig this data out of these different systems that are going to get created in this kind of open, operating system and platform. And so Crystal was kind of born from that. It was a garage startup, and we had no idea what we were doing. It was a family business of mine. I wasn't the only one involved. My brother was kind of the leader of the charge, and I was involved in it, and a number of other family members. And it was a classic garage startup that just kind of took hold and worked. And I think we did a lot of firsts in the industry that were quite unique. We can talk about them, but so from there we did Crystal. We ended up exiting Crystal in the mid 90s. We sold Crystal to Seagate. It went through a series of acquisitions to Silver Lake, and then it ended up inside of Business Objects, and Business Objects ended up inside of SAP, and that's where the Crystal product line lives today. So, lots of history there. We really kind of, I think we really coined the BI space, to be honest with you. We set a lot of firsts there. And from there, I went on and built a number of other companies. So I've sort of seen the analytics space through every technological evolution as we progress. We've gone from desktop reporting at Crystal to client server. I built another business in that. It was a very domain-specific analytics solution in the contact center analytics and workforce optimization space. And then when cloud started to happen, I built a cloud, enterprise analytics play, a BI platform, which you were part of. Yeah. And then I built another kind of version of a cloud analytics solution and platform a little later in 2015 area. So I've kind of seen the whole evolution of how the technology's evolved and how BI has kind of moved along through those technological evolutions. And it's been an interesting, process to watch that unfold. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about my background.